Hi everyone, here's Ned Koch for MIS5390. This is the first video of the fourth week of the course. This is the week of Module 4. The midterm exam will be waived, so you don't have to worry about this. We have an individual assignment at the end of the week, and I also during this week, by the end of the week, I expect each team to share with me their project file and their Excel file with the data formatted as the sample files provided on the course website. That is formatted like these files here, and the project file would be created using steps similar to the videos shown here. Once you share the project files and the data with me, I will probably suggest modifications on your projects. If not, I will just tell you this is good to go. So then from then on, it's what you're going to have to do is basically write your report using the report template provided on the website. This is the report template that you're going to be using to write your report right here. I just clicked on that link and opened the report template. So the report template has these areas in yellow with instructions. What you have to do is to enter new text in these areas in yellow, following the instructions highlighted in yellow. So that's the report. Several sections of the report. This section here, you're probably not going to have to do anything for validity and reliability if you do not have multiple indicators per latent variable. So if you have multiple indicators per latent variable, then you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do the validity and reliability. If you want an example of a project that included multiple indicators per latent variable, not only one, so multiple indicators, that would be multiple columns on the spreadsheet associated with the same latent variable. That's why the variable is called latent, because it's not measured directly but indirectly through other variables. So this file and this video refer to an example where multiple indicators were used per latent variable, and in that case you would have to have done validity and reliability checks here, like it was shown on the video. If not, just collinearity checks will be needed. Results of the analysis, recommended actions based on results. Here we're going to have team members and contributions, and this is the part where the team leader will provide scores for each team member's contribution, so this is very important that you do very honestly. For example, if a team leader lists all members as having a score of 4 on a scale from 0 to 4, all teams members' grades will be reduced because of this dishonesty. So I'm expecting that the scores will reflect that there is always some variation in the contributions of the team members, and I expect it to be reflected here. This is like, so the team lead is a bit like a manager of this project. which is why I strongly recommended in the previous video to choose the team leader carefully. Now, this doesn't mean that the score will be the grade of the team member. So I would just take this into consideration. One important thing here, and this is something that has happened in the past, and there has been in the past team members that actually try to intimidate a team leader into giving them a high score here. This can have serious consequences. In this particular group where this happened, actually this happened more than once, the team leader contacted the police, and the police did act on that because intimidation is listed in the campus police as a crime. It's not a felony, it's a misdemeanor, but nevertheless, it's a crime. So I'm saying this, I don't think this will happen. This is rare, but it's an example of how campus police, their police departments, they are taking this zero tolerance approach to intimidation and things like intimidation. So someone may do something not thinking about the consequences, and then all of a sudden they are facing the potential for a criminal record. So I don't want this to happen here. So don't try to intimidate your team leader in any way. Face-to-face or otherwise. In fact, in these other cases, there was evidence via phone messages that was actually given to the police. So hopefully that will not happen. It's rare. And here you have a letter from the client organization. Okay. I have for the commentaries that were provided for the previous week, I have only one that I would recommend to be redone, and the person can, that's Ashley's commentary. Ashley can just reply to her own commentary with a corrected one, and the reason I'm asking it to be redone is because the size of the commentary is actually 236 words. So it does not meet the requirement of for the commentary in the syllabus, which is between 250 and 1,000 words. Now, one of the commentaries that was by Brian was very detailed, very good commentary, but there were questions there in that commentary. So I would ask that for the future, please ask the questions here under Module 1 as recommended here. So as the course progresses, please post any general questions about the course on this discussion board, because then the other students can see the questions there, and they can see, and then they can viewing the video, they will see my answers to those questions. Not everybody may read everybody else's commentary, but I will address the questions that Brian asked in his commentary. So here are some questions by Brian. And by the way, very nice commentary. Long, but was under the 1,000 words, so good job. I will actually highlight another commentary. I think this one is close to the upper end in terms of size. I will highlight another one as the example or the model commentary of the week, past week, just to have another another person highlighted here, not to be making Brian always the model, in part because I would not expect everybody to write this much in the commentary. So between 250 and 1,000 words, that's what is asked in the syllabus. I tend to stick with what is in the syllabus by and large, not change things while the game is being played. But let me address some of the questions. So this question here, so was everything accounted for, such as time of day, size, temperature, the sample? So the example provided is for illustration purposes only. So it's just to illustrate the type of analysis that one could do. Professional grade analysis that you would do professionally or as a consultant for an organization, or as an employee of their data analytics department, that would have a lot more things. It would be a lot more complex and detailed, and you would have more things like these, anything that would be relevant, and that would be pretty much defined based on the needs of the organization, which is why the data analyst has to understand the organization. So let me take a look at other questions. Okay, here's another question. I think this is a question, or it's a question for me from Brian. So maximization of revenue. So you could try to maximize revenue by increasing the price, right? The price of each hot dog. But this doesn't necessarily maximize revenue, because your revenue will be the number of hot dogs sold times their price, right? So that would be your revenue. But if you increase the price, you may have fewer hot dogs sold, so that may in fact decrease your revenue. In a situation like this, where you are entering a new market, and this is food, it's not a particular area where it's not really sticky as a product, so you may lose your customers due to price increases or competition or both. So, but since you are entering that market, it would make sense to underprice it a little bit and see what the demand is. And if the demand allows, increase the price slowly until you at the point where you can see that revenue is fairly strong. And if you have more demand than you can provide based on your resources, let's say you have one full-time employee. So if you have more demand than you can provide, and the revenue is good and good enough for you to increase your resource and have, say, more people serving more hot dogs and so on, then you should definitely increase the price. In fact, this is a mistake that sometimes businesses make, in that they enter at a price level that is a good price level, it's a low price level, and then demand starts going up, and then they don't increase the price, and that tends to have an impact on quality, negative impact on quality. Another question is this one here. Are you limited to analyzing for-profit ventures versus non-profit? No, you can analyze any type of organization. I often talk in terms of businesses because most students work with business, with for-profit organizations. But no, you can use in your analysis. You can have nonprofit organizations, government organizations, departments in government organizations, a department at a university, a department at a high school. You can even use a church in any other nonprofit organization in your project. And this is not a question, but I would like to highlight this comment here that watching the videos provided a solid foundation. I strongly recommend everybody does that. One thing that I noticed here was this, that there was a finding here that a relationship was nonlinear. But if you notice from those videos that I provided, all of the relationships were set as linear in them. In part because, and I do recommend you do that, in part because the interpretation of nonlinear relationships is more difficult. So it will add complexity to your project that may be difficult to handle. And sometimes a relationship turns out to be nonlinear. So this is a focus graph, right? So we don't see the points here. If the points were all around this nonlinear relationship, very close to the relationship, then we could say, well, the relationship is clearly nonlinear. You can still you would still be able to model it as linear, but it would be clearly nonlinear. But if there are many points, a few points can change the shape of the relationship to a nonlinear relationship, and some of those points may be there due to error. So you may be modeling random error as if it was part of a nonlinear relationship. And that's the problem with nonlinear analysis. Sometimes what you have, driving the nonlinearity is random error. So there is actually ways in which you can test for that. Let me show you one example. So this paper here, this is a journal article published in a good journal with getting a lot of citations, or several citations, not a lot, several, published in 2021, that actually describes how J-curve, which are warp 2 relationships in warp PLS, nonlinear relationships, how they can emerge through moderated mediation, and how one can test for nonlinearity using a segmentation delta method. So for your projects, I am not thinking that, I'm thinking that perhaps you should not get into that unless you feel that the nonlinearity is very interesting from your understanding of the business and the sector in which it operates, business or nonprofit organization. And finally, the the commentary that I will highlight for past week is this one by Benjamin, because it was quite an improvement from the other week's commentary, second week commentary. So this is quite an improvement. It's very nice, very descriptive, first-hand experience, good size as well. And again, Benjamin, you still have the opportunity to resubmit your previous commentary for second week, because that I think I pointed out in the video for that week, referring to the commentaries on that week, that yours was below the required number of words. We do get audited in these courses, so all the instructors, they get audited on a regular basis about the things that they say or write on the course website. And if I am not pointing out these things as important and required for the course, and enforce that in the grades at the end, I may be called. I may be the auditor may say, how come there was no penalization when someone did not meet the requirements and you allow the person to resubmit and the person did not resubmit. So I'm trying to do everything I can here to make sure that if you do everything that I'm asking, you get an A, but you have to pay attention to what I'm asking and do what I'm asking. Well, you don't have to do anything, right? You do what you want. But if you're not doing what I'm asking, your grade may not be an A, may be lower than an A. God forbid, a D, which is not a passing grade, right? So a D is equivalent to an F for a master's program like this one. So that's what I have for today. Thank you for watching.